All right, so I have a brand new DCU update for you guys today. And I have been basically resting for the last week since my last update because it seems like everybody in our family got sick. And this is a result of, everybody in masks for the last couple of years. And the masks have come off. And so for a couple of years, we're going to have a lot of sickness going around everywhere because those natural things we would have gotten immunity to because we were constantly bombarded by germs, we didn't get by wearing the masks. So it's like our bodies have to relearn immunity all over again. But anyway, I am back now, and I will be covering everything in the DCU. Hope I didn't say DCEU earlier. I can't remember. It's going to be a learning curve saying the DCU. So I've got a number of things to cover today. We're going to start with the small potatoes and work our way up. So the first thing I want to talk about is some casting news with the Batman show, The Penguin, starring Colin Farrell, that is still moving forward with HBO Max. So the Penguin show has cast Kristen Milioti to lead the Batman spinoff with Colin Farrell. She's going to play a very famous role in DC Comics, and she is going to be Sophia Falcone. It's going to be interesting to see her play this role after everything that happened in the actual the Batman movie itself, and we're going to see what kind of a role she is going to take on. Interesting, from what I understand, she was in Palm Springs. Okay, she actually did a great job in that. She's actually a pretty good actress, so she is going to be taking over as Carmine Falcone's daughter. Sophia Falcone. And it's going to be interesting when this comes out. And I can tell you there's already some pushback. And I'm going to take every opportunity I can to talk about my favorite YouTuber. So for those who don't know, Grace Randolph actually blocked me on Twitter. Now, I do have two Twitter accounts, one for my voiceover career, one for also movie-related stuff. And she blocked me because I simply pointed out that Henry Cavill was back as Superman and she needed to take the loss. And she didn't like that. I wasn't rude to her. I just told her she needs to live up to it. This was after Henry Cavill said he was going to be back, and, Warner Brothers shared his post as well as DC Comics commenting on it, and she was still saying he's only doing some cameos, which was freaking hilarious. But she blocked me for pointing that out, so she can't stand anybody. But there's some people she hates in real life. Jessica Chastain is one of those. Henry Cavill is another. And what's funny is she was all over this casting for the Penguin show. She hates it. She said it doesn't embody the character, that if you're going to portray a character on screen, they should match their comic counterparts, which I'm going to call hypocrisy on this because there are plenty of characters that have been changed due to diversity, and she was championing all of that. So I don't think she has a leg to stand on when she talks about this issue, which is kind of funny. So the next story I want to talk about is the Black Adam box office report. It did drop off quite a bit over this past weekend, but globally, it did cross the 250 million mark. And the movie did cost about $200 million to make, and then there was probably about $100 million put in to advertising. So it's almost going to break even, and it still has yet to open in China. Now, this movie is going to be making a profit very soon here. So it's safe to say that this movie is going to be a moneymaker for Warner Brothers, not as big as they were hoping it would be, which is understandable. And for anybody who thought that this was going to be a $1 billion film, it was never going to be a $1 billion film, and I'm going to explain why. You can't really have a Black Adam film without Shazam. In comics, these two characters are known to be, intertwined, and you can't just have a Black Adam movie without Shazam in there. Had Shazam been in it, I think you would have had a much bigger film. If you had both The Rock and Zachary Levi in there, I think it would have made a lot more money. Still don't know that it would have made $1 billion, but it would have fared a lot better. Plus, you threw in a bunch of characters that are kind of second-rate characters in DC Comics. They're AAA blockbuster characters, which did make for an entertaining film. And, 90% of the audience likes the movie. So it is the highest-rated DC film to date, at least the highest rated since The Dark Knight, by people, not critics. Critics still hate it. It's in the 30s somewhere, which is ridiculous. But the movie was never going to make quite as much as I think the studio was hoping for. Now, The Rock likes to headline his own films, which is fine, but you have to understand it is going to take a hit because of that. Still his biggest opening ever, but was never going to be the big blockbuster everybody expected it to be. But the good news is it is going to be in the black here very soon. And, with sales on video and everything else coming up, that is also going to be icing on the cake. So that movie is definitely going to be a moneymaker for Warner Brothers, and they are developing a sequel as we speak, which is going to be fast-tracked. They said that movie is going to come out a lot quicker than this one ever did, which I would hope because this movie has been in the planning for over 15 years. But a new one is coming very, very soon. All right, now I'm going to talk about something interesting that I haven't talked about on my channel just yet. So we have Rebel Moon. Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon is just about to finish up principal photography here in the next few weeks. And I would encourage anybody on Twitter to follow Rebel Moon updates. If you guys want me to start basically covering Rebel Moon, I can do that as well. I can do some, I could just do little updates with my DC updates, or I could start doing Rebel Moon updates by themselves and covering that topic all on its own. So I'll let you guys decide that. Do you want me to do little tiny Rebel Moon updates when I do my DC videos, or do you want me to start talking about Rebel Moon by itself in separate videos? Whatever the general consensus is what I will definitely do going forward. All right, so that's going to lead us to the third story here. Now, the rest of this is going to be Henry Cavill heavy. So, if you guys have been living under a rock, you would have known, and I almost did a video about this when this happened, and I was going to do a live stream on Sunday, but like I said, I've just been resting. The Witcher, Henry Cavill is no longer going to be in The Witcher. He has exited the role in that show, and Liam Hemsworth is going to take over. And there's a lot of speculation as to why this is happening. And I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. Now, I personally think this is going to ruin the show. I don't think it will survive past the next season. But I want to talk about why this happened, and there's a little bit to talk about with Grace Randolph as well. So as soon as he exited this role, Grace Randolph came out and talked about how he's a liar and he's a terrible human being, and that he just did this in spite, basically, and he's giving everybody the middle finger, and he thinks he's too big of a person. He's a big movie star and couldn't be bothered with a TV show, which is so far from the truth. Again, people put her in her place, and they let her know it's because he's committed to Superman full-time. And I do believe that that's what is happening. Now, there are 2 possible reasons as to why he's leaving The Witcher. The one that I think is most probable is the fact that he is going to be back full-time as Superman. He's going to be putting a lot into that role. They're going to have to fast-track the film because they don't have a slate for 2024. They've got 4 movies coming out in 2023, but nothing is slated for 2024. And if they don't start principal photography on some stuff pretty quickly, they're not going to have a whole lot to release. I personally believe the Joker 2, the Batman 2, Wonder Woman 3, and possibly the Superman film would come out in 2024. That's if they start principal photography sometime between now and March, which remains to be seen. But that could be one of the reasons, is that he's going to be back as Superman full-time. That's the role he wants to be in. Or the other explanation is he did talk about how when he had to come and film his scenes and I'm going to talk about another scene that he possibly came back for here in a minute, but supposedly when he came to film his scene for Black Adam, he was on the set of The Witcher, and he had to leave to go do this, and he couldn't tell them why. He just said, I have something I have to go do, and they kept it very, very secret. This was about the time of the Comic-Con when he was expected to show up and everything, and somebody knew something was going on. They didn't get quite all of the information right, but he was actually doing a secret scene for Black Adam. Supposedly, he also filmed a scene at that same time for the Flash film where he's going to have another end credit scene in there, which is going to set up Man of Steel 2 from The Flash, and that Brainiac is going to be the main villain. These are the rumors going around. Nobody knows if this is fact, but this has been basically reported by so many places that I do believe there is some validity to it. So I do believe I'm pretty sure he's going to be in The Flash. I think that's a given. Now, whether they're going to set up, for the Man of Steel 2 or the villain remains to be seen. But that's, what we've got going on with that story. So we also have, now I hate that I'm covering something from We Got This Covered, because this site is nothing but made up garbage, but this quote is not. Henry Cavill has yet to meet James Gunn, and this is interesting. He said, I have not met James yet. I'm looking very forward to meeting him. He's a very, very talented man, and I cannot wait to sit down and have long conversations with him. I'm very excited about him being there and very excited about any future opportunities we can work together. He's definitely has not met with James Gunn. That announcement was just made, so these two are probably going to be sitting down very, very soon, because I can guarantee you that Henry Cavill is going to be the face of DC going forward, and that comes, straight from what David Zaslav was talking about before they took over. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the fact that there are rumors that Henry Cavill has signed on not just for The Flash as a cameo, but also for the Man of Steel sequel, as well as Justice League 2. Now, this has been reported everywhere, too, and this one is one of those things that could be considered a rumor because we don't know for sure. But let's talk about this as well. There's a very real possibility that they could be doing Justice League 2. Will it follow the storyline of Justice League 1? Not necessarily. It's going to take a long time for Darkseid to get to the Earth. That could happen years down the road. Like I said, I think they're looking at some kind of Final Crisis storyline at the end of everything. But I still believe that they are going to be planning a Justice League 2 and have a lot more of these characters that they've introduced in there. Who knows who the villain's going to be or what they're going to, what the plans are. So basically, where we're at with the DCU at this stage is we're kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for the plans that are going to be happening going forward. We know some things. We're still waiting for an official announcement of Ben Affleck coming back as Batman for multiple films. There are some strong rumors out there that he has signed on for a 3-picture deal, and we're going to see where everything leads in the future. But there's a lot of stuff for me to cover coming up. If you stick to my channel, I will be bringing all of the information for you guys, so I do appreciate all the support. I love that my channel is continuing to grow. Anything you guys can do to help that, to share my channel, like the videos, share the videos, would be greatly appreciated. I'm here for the long term, and I look forward to interacting with everybody. I do appreciate the support. We will see you on the next video.